drifting, alone, in the middle of the Pacific. A tangled raft of leaves bobs under a brutal sun. On it, a few silent iguanas, clinging to life. No land ahead. No turning back. Just 5,000 miles of ocean. It feels like a myth, but it happened. 30 million years ago, these lizards accomplished the longest ocean crossing ever recorded by a land animal. And now, science is finally catching up to their story, because where they ended up is half a world away. Fiji is paradise, emerald forests, volcanic peaks, and iguanas. It's the last part that stunned scientists for decades. Vibrant green and fiercely territorial, these lizards, brachylophus species like B. vitiensis and B. bulabula, exist only on a few isolated islands scattered across the South Pacific. But here's the mystery. Their closest genetic relatives aren't anywhere nearby. They live thousands of miles away in the dry deserts of Mexico and the American Southwest. There's no land bridge, no plausible migration path. Iguanas can't swim across oceans, and they certainly didn't evolve wings. So how did a strictly American reptile end up on these remote tropical islands? That question would haunt biologists for generations. At first, scientists tried to play it safe. Maybe these iguanas weren't from the Americas at all. Perhaps their ancestors migrated from somewhere closer, Asia or even Australia. After all, those land masses are much nearer to Fiji. It would have been a shorter, simpler trip. But when researchers looked closer, the clues told a different story. The fossils didn't line up, and the DNA, not even close. That left only one possibility. The ancestors of Brachylophus floated across the Pacific, more than 8,000 kilometers, clinging to vegetation torn loose by storms. A 5,000-mile ocean journey by accident. It sounded absurd until the evidence started making it harder and harder to ignore. The truth wasn't in the waves. It was buried in the bones. To unravel the mystery, scientists turned to two of evolution's most reliable witnesses, ancient fossils and the genetic blueprints of modern lizards. Over 200 species were analyzed, thousands of DNA markers compared, and the trail kept circling back, not to Asia, not to Australia, but westward to the dry deserts of North America. The closest match? Dipsosaurus dorsalis, a species native to the American Southwest. Fossil records supported the timeline. Genetic evidence sealed the connection. Together, they told a story of separation and survival, of a family tree split by the sea, and a journey so unlikely it could only happen because evolution had time on its side. So how did they survive it? How does a land reptile, cold-blooded and desert-born, endure weeks adrift with no land in sight? Turns out, iguanas are better castaways than we ever imagined. Being herbivores, they could survive by eating parts of the raft itself, leaves, vines, even bark. Some species enter torpor-like states, lowering their metabolism and going without food for weeks. And their thick, scaled skin makes them surprisingly tolerant to sun, salt, and dehydration. Even today, some iguanas have been seen floating between islands, modern echoes of a prehistoric gamble. If evolution needed a test pilot for an 8,000-kilometer voyage, the iguana was overqualified. Picture it. A storm thrashes a tropical coast, ripping vegetation loose. Caught in the wreckage, a group of iguanas drifts into the current. No direction, no control. The Pacific becomes a conveyor belt. Days blur into weeks. Heat, rain, waves that dwarf the raft. No help coming. Some islands may have offered brief shelter, now swallowed by the sea. Others they never saw. And then, after 8,000 kilometers, land appeared. When the survivors crawled onto the volcanic shores of ancient Fiji, they weren't just starting a new life. They were starting a new chapter of evolution. But evolution doesn't rely on luck. It runs on time. Given enough of it, even the rarest outcomes become inevitable. One storm, one raft, a few survivors. Multiply that by millions of years, and nature finds a way. That's not magic. That's persistence. And once, just once, it worked. Once on land, the story didn't end, it evolved. The iguanas found a world without predators, no rivals, lush forests, stable climates, ecological freedom. Evolution got to work. The lone colonizers diversified into distinct species with bold colors, unique calls, and behaviors found nowhere else on Earth. Today, 4 known species remain. They are living fossils, biological echoes of that improbable voyage. This journey doesn't just rewrite evolutionary theory, it expands it. It reshapes how we view dispersal, adaptation, and survival against astronomical odds. One accidental voyage redrew the boundaries of a family tree. What else might nature accomplish under pressure? In a world shifting under our feet, with rising seas and disappearing habitats, this story reminds us, life doesn't just adapt, it innovates. They were never supposed to make it. No map, no plan, just a drifting raft and the vast silent Pacific. And still, through time, chance, and resilience, they did. Now, Fijian iguanas lounge in the treetops, unaware they carry the signature of a 30-million-year miracle in their genes. Maybe that's what evolution really is, not just survival of the fittest, but survival of the most unlikely. Because sometimes, the most extraordinary journeys leave no trail, only descendants. The ocean erased their footprints, but their story survived. If you want to explore more unbelievable journeys like this one, where science meets awe, subscribe to Max Biology, real science, wild nature, stories that make you think.